Clyde Lima Bean. What's up, Paul? Of course, you can't hear me. No, because I didn't unmute, so that's why you can't hear me. But you're muted. Anyway, what is up, people? We are live. Let me ping the Raffy Taffy. R. Raphael Ludwig. Oh, I need my phone. Yo, I've been on a crazy mission the last couple days. I've been printing nonstop and super funny. I started like an 8 hour print. Actually, it was more like 6. And then I was down here the whole time doing stuff. I had so much meetings yesterday, calls going in, handling my business, everything going on. I leave the office. As soon as I leave the office, the printer goes, "Hey man, you ran out of filament." I was like, bitch. So I came back and I looked at my stash and I went to go grab another black roll of filament and I didn't have. So I had to use silver, but it just makes it look like it's Raider Nation. So we'll let it go. But how stupid is that? Like, I was like, oh, it actually looks kind of decent. But I just wanted this because in my house, we got flooded a few years ago. And so when I had to do the remodel, I found that there was a whole hollow section. Like when you walk in the door, there's about yo much wall, like legit. And then there's the kitchen. And then there's another little wall about that big. And then there's the whole living room, dining room area. But on this side, it's the whole wall. It turned out it was empty. So since there was a hole in it, because they had to cut the drywall like 3 feet high, I was like, oh, let's just core this whole thing out and make it like a little nook. So I have a nook that's like 22 inches wide, floor to ceiling. And I built a little shelf out of plywood, walnut plywood that sits in there. So it's like a drawer. So it has like all of the, pens, pencils, scissors, extra keys, secret scroll, the whole 9 yards. And then in the bottom half, I cut a little secret scroll cubby to put a safe that you cannot tell is a safe because there's no expectation of there to be a safe in there. I don't care if you come to my house, you gotta get in because you probably get shot before you get that far. But I was like, oh, the table is flat. And so what happened, you just piled the mail up. And I was like, oh, let me just print one of these. And then I did, and I ran out of stuff. So this is cool. But I've been printing baskets to clean my desk and all kind of craziness. And it's kind of psycho. It's kind of psycho. Anyway, today, as soon as I can ping the link to Rafi, we're going to talk about the new, I always want to call it Creative Studio. That is not what it's called. It is called something else. Oh my God, why am I dumb? It'll come to me in a second. Let me finish messaging the Raphael. Yo. Yes. So Jimmy, that's the one I got. Jimmy, if you want to jump in, it's the same link. That is the exact one I got. But I'm probably going to upgrade and get a H2C. And honestly, the one that Tom has been hawking, which is the P2, PS2, sounds like a PlayStation, is actually P2S is actually really dope as well. But I think the reason why I want to go to an H2C is it's just slightly bigger and it will give me a little bit more versatility. Like I don't plan on printing to sell prints, but I do want to go slightly faster. And because I'm in a basement, being able to control the temperature and the humidity inside the cabinet for higher end filaments is kind of important. Right now, I'm kind of stuck to PLA and PETG. And even when I tried to print PETG, the humidity in the basement, it can't, when the air conditioning goes off, it can get damp down here. If the air conditioner is working flawlessly, the humidity is perfect. Like it's like 55. It's kind of dope. Creator Studio, that's the word I was looking for, Paul. I was going to get there sooner or later. Do not listen to them. let me cause some family discord in your house. Do not listen to them at all. The amount of stuff that you will be printing to organize your office, and we need more girls in the hobby. And you can get into the hobby for nothing. Rich, I be running the printer. Hey, Rich had a very good question. If you've seen any of the reels from my 30-day challenge, the printer is on the entire time. Also, many occasions, both myself and Luis, the printer is running while we're live, and you don't hear it. You just don't. It doesn't really. It has some audible things like to let you know that the kickoff kicked off. But you guys be watching me live all the time. This sucker is back there. So not really. And if you happen to get what I was just talking about, the ones that's in the cabinet, I mean, maybe some of that's SM7B, but compared to what they used to be, nah, fam. They used to be crazy loud. They used to make so damn much noise. I kind of hated it. Here's something I printed yesterday, which is I needed a little stash box. And like this is crazy. And I was talking about this the other day when I was making my baskets. If I were to go onto Amazon right now and look for a really strong, like latchable box. I haven't put the latches on because I haven't ordered my screws. I got to get screws for these. I'll probably go to the local hardware store and get some 30 millimeter M3s. But if I were to go and order a small latchable box like this, that clamps like this, be it Paladin, or I think Paladin is the right, when you talk about tackle boxes, or whatever, this little box right here will be probably 20-ish bucks, maybe a little bit more. If you buy straight clear plastic, what do you call this? Plastic, there's a word. It'll come to me in a second. If you buy this kind of plastic one, even this little box right here is probably like 8 to 10 bucks or whatever. This is 4, maybe, maybe 4. And that's after I buy the screws. And the screws are half of that price. Like this much in filament is like $2. And so it took you, 4 hours to print this. I'm not looking at it. It just press the button and I go do what I got to do. So now I'm almost at the Luis phase where I feel like if the printer is not printing, I'm doing something wrong. So in the middle of this stream, I will fire up the printer. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, honestly, I do feel it's worth it just for the amount of organizational things I've been able to print for my house. And, Paul did me a favor and sent me my Scadis boards because I don't have an IKEA here. And even like my Scadis wall, I got my cameras up there. Oh, wait, let me show this. Let me show this to Marion. This is why you need a printer, sis. Ate, look at this. Whoop. Oh, it's so organized. All my pins is organized. Boom. That easy. Hang it back on the wall. Game recognized game. See, that's why you need one. Just for that. Just to take all of your Copics and, pins, your fountain pens, ink, watch, whatever, planner thingies, like the whole 9 yards. That kind of stuff. And, I can see how people get addicted and turn into a hobby and start making stuff. But Brandon and I were talking just in film. Yeah. The markers, they do lean forward when they're it goes like that on the board. But yeah, like it's kind of, see, you can wear some swishes and some zigzags in there. 100%. Yo, like, listen, the best thing to do before you decide, and this is funny because it devolved into this conversation, but if you decide that you want to do this, here is the best thing for you to do. Stop here. I'm going to give you the link to the site that I use. And this is not the only site. This is the site that sort of everything on this site works for Bamboo. But you can theoretically get prints anywhere. And it's called Maker World. And if you just peruse Maker World for the type of stuff you think you would print, and then go there, and from there you decide, okay, let me get a printer. So for the really tiny one that Luis has, I don't know what it would be in kangaroo bucks, but it's like $230 right now. Like, and all right, here's where the conversation gets a little ill. I don't know what it would cost in different countries, but you can definitely get printers cheaper than Bamboo. The reason why I went with Bamboo is kind of like the Apple of the printer world. Everything just works. It's super simple. There is a little bit of factory lock-in, if you would say, because you are required to use certain things that are bamboo only, but most of that is just what they write in the papers. It doesn't really work like that. You can still go to Amazon and buy filament. I just like the bamboo filament. I feel it's better quality. It's when we say it's more expensive, we're talking the difference between $20 for a spool and $18 for a spool. And the people that are that cheap, they're my friends. I just don't kick it with people like that. But you can occasionally, when you catch it on sale, buy filament for like 12, $15. And that's a brand I use called Polymaker, which I really like. The cheapest brand, which is Sunlu Illiglue, well, actually Sunlu, I just didn't have fun with it. It messed up on me, which was probably not even, according to Luis, when we were talking, he's like, it's not a nature of the filament. It's just a random thing that happened. But that was the only time I ever had a problem. And so you know what I did? Because I have $8 to spare. I just went back to bamboo filaments, have never had another problem. So to me, it might be completely in my head, but I'll waste $8 in my head. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? When somebody says that the Kirkland tissues are the same as Kleenex, and the Kirkland tissues are $5 cheaper, you know which ones I buy? Kleenex. Why? Because I just feel like it doesn't raw my nose the same. They're probably made in the same bombaclot room. I don't care. I'm broke, but I ain't that broke. How would you describe that, Jimmy? There's broke, and then there's that broke. We're not that broke. In Black community, we stick that in front of many things to make it the adjective. That is an adjective to us. He's like, you know that? You know him like that? I don't mean, you know him? Yeah, I know him, but I don't know him like that. You know what I'm saying? That's, Jimmy knows what I mean. Kim knows what I mean. Rich is honorary Black. He knows what I mean. I know him, but I don't know him like that. Oh, I F with him, but I don't F with him like that. Yeah, so like, I'm broke, but I ain't that broke. So I'd rather just get that. So to me, yes, you can get a bamboo. Let me see if this works. Did I put it in Chrome or did I put it in Safari? I put it in Final Cut. Well, that's dumb. Don't do that. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh, I got to show you guys something cool about Final Cut. Where my Final Cut people at? Put yourself in the chat if you are a Final Cut people. Why is he zoomed in like he got a bad headache? Come here. Go, 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 go. Why are you not a square? Matter of fact, why are you not a squircle? See when you be messing around while you cracking jokes, making fun of Dylan, and mess up your whole set? Why you blow up my spot? Because we both got hot. Okay, so this is Maker World. This is like all myriad sorts of things that you would make. Look at this nice little field notes planner cover with the place to hold the pen. You know what I'm saying? And yes, that's the thing. That was the reason why, Jimmy, it did just work right out the box. Like you didn't have to go through all kind of craziness, all kind of weird setup, none of that. Like, dude, I legit took it out the blocks. I took it out the box. I plugged it in and it started working. I'm probably going to print one of these tissue boxes for my niece right now for her room. Because A, I know she would like it. And B, right now it's not season for little kids. I guess she's 16. I kind of got to stop calling her little kids. She went out yesterday with not finals. We call it thing in the middle school, midterms yesterday. And after they finished midterms, she said, oh, me and my friends are going out. Can you pick me up? And I was like, bet. So I talked to my sister-in-law. I'm like, okay, what time she got to be in? And she says, oh, she got to be in at 9:30. And I go, cool. I go, you want me to bring her back to the crib? And she goes, no, she can sleep at your house. I'm like, bet. Emma, you can stay out till 11. Don't let me babysit your kids. Ain't nobody got time for your dumbass parenting rules. She is 16. She could be out till 11. You know what she did? She called me at 10 and said, come pick me up anyway. You know what I mean? So, like, if you let them do what they need to do, they'll do it correctly. If you be like, nah, I'm the boss, then you're going to get, your kid will end up smoking weed in high school like me. Oh, Marion, look. Let me stop sidetracking. God damn it. I was going to show you something. Look, come on, Ate. Tell me this isn't you. Rich said it's not season 365 around there. There you go. Like, yo, so like wanting to print, that little tissue box. I'm gonna end up making one for myself, but I'm gonna do the Japanese style print. Man, Luis, I've been talking about you 24/7, and now you pop up, jerk. Anyway, so this is how it started. I was looking at this, and then freaking Luis said, "Hey, man, just go to Bamboo Labs." I'm like, okay. This was last December 23, 24. Okay, so I go to Bamboo Labs, and you go here, and this is what Luis got. So let me just show you. It's a little. This one is called the slinger, because instead of the head moving around, the butt moves around. It moves around quickly too, but it's really tiny. Like, if Luis clean his room and jump on, I can show you how tiny it is. But he printing a whole camera rigs off of this thing. So just because it's tiny doesn't mean it can't do. It can do. And I don't think Luis even has this thing that I have on the side, which makes you able to switch colors. I think Luis still does it one color at a time because he's racist and he mostly prints black. But look at that. So I don't know what that equals in Australia, but that, my friend, is cheap. Actually, we can cheat. We can just do like this. Bingo. $319 odd. And if you get the thing like I got on the side bang, then it's $529 odd. Is that what you guys call it? Australian dollars? Actually, let me fix that. It's $319. That's what it is. $319. And so Luis doesn't even have this thing. He only has the $319 one. That's how you say 19 in Australia. Marion's going to kill me. Switching back to it's $100 difference in odd. Well, of course, there's a currency fluctuation difference, but still, like, honestly, you could jump in for £2. That's not right either. Paul, we got to practice our British slangs before we go. We're going to be somewhere. Why you don't let Aubrey in? You just got her hanging outside. That's not me, Aubrey. That's Paul. I'm busy over here. He's supposed to be paying attention. He playing piano. Aubrey's outside kicking and screaming, Paul, open the damn door. Look, she actually put it. I didn't even see that. She actually put it. Oh my God. Yo, what is up, C? How are you doing, Ma? Very good to see you. She said, that'd be great to make holders for my craft supplies. Absolutely. So, honestly, I tell you, if you're thinking about it, if you got the itch, first of all, do not ask anybody in your family if you should, because their goal is to tell you no to everything. They have no idea what the F they're talking about. But go to Maker World. And again, this is not the only spot. This is the spot that just works the best with our printers, with just being able to be like Apple, press a button, it works. Okay. So you go in here, you find the type of things that you would make. And for me, so far, it has primarily been organization supplies, because I got a small studio. I'm trying to get down. I was about to print this one yesterday, and then I realized I needed some different color ink because I'm going to print it in 2 colors of purple. And my lighter purple, I only got about 6 feet left. So, and then let me show you something that I did. This might be kind of funny. Let me see if I can find this. Guys, I'm gonna tell you how crazy I am, because I wanted to like let people know how good this world is when you get in here and you start printing. So I created a printer cost calculator. Okay. So this thing, if I go back to the print, right, and I go to this Kumiko design, which I absolutely love, it says it needs 482. Stay here, dude. It says it needs 482 grams of filament. Okay. And then it says that it takes 17.3 hours to print. Cool. So if I go over to Claude, and then I live in Hawaii, my electricity is expensive. And I have a Bamboo A1, so I get 95 watts, period. Okay? This guy is going to take 17 hours. I think, what did it say? Let me check real quick. It says 17.3. So let's say 17 hours and 15 minutes. Let's cheat. 20 minutes. Nope. 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes is 0.3. So let's say 20 minutes, 17 hours and 20 minutes. And then I'm going to do bamboo filament. So that cost me $22 after tax. And I need to use 482 grams. 482. Oh, what the heck? The scroll wheel works. I didn't know that. See, when you code things that you let Claude code, all right. So if I want to print that beautiful doohickey right there with the most expensive electricity in the country, it's going to cost me basically $11 to print that. I'm going to tell you right now, Dom Against Two Fat Boys, made out of the material that I was going to use it in, I picked a higher end filament. If I bought some Amazon Ghetto filament, it cost me $6.97. Oh, you can't see, my big ass head is in the way. It cost me $6.97. I'm buying the bougie filament, and Luis makes fun of me, and he's like, dummy, just buy the cheap stuff like him. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to buy the expensive one because I'm Doc and I'm weird. And I'm the type of person that likes to buy Fujis and Leicas and shit. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And it's still cheap. Like, even doing it the crazy way, it's still cheap. So, I'm just saying, fam. Like, I'm just saying. It's well worth it. So if you want to get in and think about how you might find things that will just pop your socks and just make your space look better. Like for me, it's not even about the fact that I can print it. It's about that I make my space look better. And if you see Luis's studio right now, oh, look, come on. Where's Ate? Ate, look at this. Look at this. You got the Copics. You got the Sakuras, you got the Hasami, aka scissors, you got the Olfa knife that's all in one little doohickey. You know what I'm saying? You're getting in like swimwear, right? You got poker markers. You can make it any color you want. Boom. Game recognized game. Look at that. And then if one day you wake up and decide that you don't want that inside color, just reprint the inside. Boom. Yeah, it actually, Luis said high quality is for final prints. True story. So yeah, you can use the cheap stuff to do tests and then whatever. I'm just saying this stuff is way too saucy for people to be out here tripping and, you know, talking spice. I'm probably going to grab the credit card right now. Hey, Jimmy, if you live near a Best Buy, in the US of A, they started selling it in the Best Buy. Actually, you guys don't have a problem with shipping. I do. So I have to buy mine from Best Buy because they just started selling there. Because if I order from Bamboo, they want like $400 shipping. But I was just telling Brandon this the other day. They just started slinging them joints at Best Buy. And to me, that just made it worse. Because now I can just go in here and get one. All right, look at this. Look at this. So they got it with the AMS. The little one like Luis got, they got with the, oh, I know this is the one I got. Holy crap. All right, let me do some confession, Usher. 2 years ago, well, year and a half. Well, that's 2 years. 1 year. Okay, let me get my facts straight. A year ago when I bought this cost me 700 bones. And right now you can get one for 400. This is cheaper than Paul's Pianer with the little thing that he swings his arms around. I could print a Paul's piano. It won't make no sound, but I can print one. It will look cool with the white and black keys. It won't do nothing, but at least I can pretend. I can pretend to play piano with Paul. But yeah, you can go to the Buy More right now, and depending on in your city, look, they even got one in my city. Come and pick it up. It'll be ready today. I already got one, so I can pick it up. But what I'm probably fixing to do is get the one with the little cabinet. And if you've seen Tom's videos recently, Tom has been rocking this, which is kind of out of stock until February. But that's what I basically paid for mine last time. And the primary difference, the bed is about the same, the whole 9 yards. The primary difference is having a cabinet on it. You can do some higher end filaments that require temperature control. Now, this is not a heated cabinet, but it does suck the extra air out. So it keeps the temperature a little bit better, so you can get some higher end filaments. And so me being crazy again, I want to print some filaments that require a heated cabinet, so I'm fixing to get this one. This one, 14. I kind of like this one with the 19 because it has two heads, so you can print two colors quicker. But this is the answer right here. This is what I'm fixing to get. I'm not ready to go to two heads yet because I'm not trying to print commercially. I'm literally just printing things from my house. I'm about to redo all my kitchen drawers. I made some dividers for my bathroom drawer. And then after, Karen's like, how come your drawer is neat and my drawer is messy? I need you to print some for my drawer. And I'm like, okay. So boom, I'm about to get in there and start, printing things for that. You can print little knickknacks for the car. Me and Brandon are printing random things for the camera. I will show you something that's going to blow your mind. This one was actually designed by Mr. Junkie Camera himself, and he sent it to me because I have a YOLO S3 cam, and everybody knows that I like a black Pro Miss because I'm racist. No, I'm joking. I just like a black Pro Miss because it does nice things with the light. So Luis gave me the file, and I just put a filter. I'm using a 52 millimeter filter. 67, I speak math. It's a 67 millimeter filter for my Black Pro Miss. I could just stick it on my on the webcam? Are you joking? So now, here's the crazy part. Oh, I didn't even think about this, Luis. I did not think about this, Luis. My El Guido teleprompter is sitting on a 67 millimeter camera. One of the hardest things about switching the webcam from a mirrorless camera is getting it to work on the Elgato prompter. But because of Luis, I can stick right in the back of the Elgato prompter, plug this cable in, use a little magnet thing to hold it, and I can take my Sony from back there, because I don't know if you've seen this camera yet. It's purty. It's freaking purty. It looks pretty much like the Sony if you dial it in straight. So, I mean, this is where we're at. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're at. What's that guy's name? Richard said, what is the biggest mentionings you can print? This. On this particular one. The other one that I'm looking at is slightly bigger than this, but this is, I want to call it 10.5 inches. You don't want to go to whole 10. You want to stay in just a little piece, but many people just print in sections and connect. 10.1/8 square. This is 10.1/8 square. But again, the one that I'm going to get is slightly bigger than this. And yeah, that's always a thing. Like when I first started looking at these way back in the day, my original printer was 210 by 210. So that's actually tiny. This is way bigger. Luis's one is probably like 210 by 210. But if you see what Luis is printing, you'll be like, damn, he printed that on that? That whole wall. If you've seen Luis's room, that entire wall of things that he got, he printed that entire wall. I could use this last night when I was resetting my desk setup. Another gadget probably would make my kaleidoscope mind explode. Yeah, you know, you got to sticky back heavy duty Velcro then. All right, maybe Raph got busy, but let's talk about this thing because I think it's important. And I was going to do a video on it anyway. So I highly recommend anybody that have questions about it to get it ready. I'm going to record this as a video and then I'll chop it up. I'm going to pull it out. 180 by 1. Oh, your plate is 180 by 180. Yeah, so mine is like 290 by 290 maybe. I forgot what the size is. It's on the Bamboo site. I should know this by heart by now because I print all the time, but it just works. Maybe it's 256 by 256. Who knows? Let me see. Now you made me think about it. Oh, press that. Text specs. That's the word. But yeah, mine's is 256 by 256 by 256. And Louise's is 180 by 180 by 180. And that makes more sense to Marianne than it does to us because we have to translate that, but 10 and a quarter. 10 and an eighth, damn it. I know the difference between a quarter and an eighth. I'm gonna let that soak in. Why you laugh, Aubrey? Why you laugh? There's a huge difference between a quarter and the eighth. Just saying. Depends on how small you... Never mind. Anyway, we're going to pop back over here. Load up, Maggie. Load up. I just realized I got like 5,100 tabs open. Okay, there we go. Let's go. Let us go. Copy this. And then go back to this. And paste. And then bingo. All right. Boom. We're going to do this we're going to do this off the cuff. So this is going to be rough, rugged, and raw. Let me give myself a clean look. That's not a clean look. I'm just making a plate so I can easily find the start point because I don't want to break the file. Always smile before you start talking. This week, Apple has announced their brand new version of what the Photoshop people or Adobe people call Creative Suite. Apple has just introduced Creator Studio. Now, Creator Studio is going to be a collection of apps that includes all of the pro apps. So we're talking your Final Cut Pro, Pixelmator Pro, Logic Pro, Motion, I believe Compressor, but they're also going to add Keynote, Pages, Numbers, and Freeform, which has kind of thrown a whole bunch of people off because they're like, why are they including the apps that they already include for free inside this new Creator Studio setup? And we're going to talk about that. So, of course, the internet is all alight. And, of course, because Apple decided to do it, people got feelings. So we're going to talk about it. Who is this for? Is it for you? Is it going to work? And, of course, I'm going to ask Chat, are you about to get into this life? Okay. Now, the first things first, I got to tell you my stance on subscription and subscription pricing, because this is the headache that gets everybody caught. So we're just going to bring that elephant into the room and serve it right now. I think 100%, and I feel 100%, I will be absolutely ecstatic when many of the heavy-ended apps like this go subscription service. And there's a reason for that. Now, I come from the day, I know in the chat right now, I'm recording this live. My buddy Rich is in the chat, and my buddy Paul is over here, and even in Gretchen. Like, when I originally bought Photoshop, after, let's be honest, after 4 years of acquiring it, I decided to go and buy Photoshop because I was, starting to do client work, and I just felt like it was a safer thing to do. So when I went to go buy Photoshop, my initial copy of Photoshop was almost $1,000. I want to say it was $9.99. It might have been $8.99. And that was like version 2. Prior to that, we were just using what you can get in a whole bunch of floppies, right? When things started to get busy, I was like, I wish Photoshop would let me do this. And it didn't. And you waited 3.5 years. And then Photoshop updated, and then they bring in layers, or they bring in some other fancy thing that, PDF support that made it work better. But it was literally, by the time you bought an app for almost $1,000, 3.5 years later, you would get the update, and then the update was going to set you back $300. So in the course of 4 years, you're $1,300 in, right? Nowadays, Photoshop is, I believe, $10 a month. And in order to get to that same amount of money at $10 a month, do you know how many? I mean, you know how many months? I think you gotta be like 120 months in order to get to that same amount of money. But here's the difference now with Creative Cloud, and I just got a Photoshop update yesterday. You're getting updates almost every month, if not every other month. And so one of the noises around Final Cut for literally the last 3 years has been Premiere is doing this, and this. DaVinci is doing this. I can't believe Final Cut is so far behind. How come Apple's not updating it? Apple's not updating it. And Apple has been updating it, but yes, they have been slightly behind DaVinci and Premiere. So they made a business decision and say, we're going to go to this prescription. We're going to go to this subscription model where it's going to be $12.99 a month, and then we're going to go and expand the team. We're going to buy some companies to backfill what we're missing. We're going to flush out this thing, and the reason for that is on subscription model software, you know what your development budget is. You know what it is because you know how many subscribers you have. And although that fluctuates, you have a better outlook of what's going on. So if in using a car, if the headlights can see 20 feet in front of you, subscription model headlights can see 150 feet in front of you. That's really what it's about. And they did it, and everybody loses their mind. The same people who were complaining that Apple is behind are losing their mind because they're making a subscription model. But here's the even more dumb part about this. You don't have to use a subscription. If you pay $3.99 for or $2.99 for Final Cut, you can still use that. You're just going to be missing some of the features that you begged about in the AI stuff, because the AI stuff isn't just I coded the software and updated it. The AI stuff uses servers like the computer you have on your desk. It requires graphics cards and electricity and CPUs. So in order to get the AI transcription that you've been asking for, that requires server time. Server time is not free. And there's well, Apple's worth $4 trillion. They won't stay worth $4 trillion if they gave it all away. That's what, I don't know, I have a business degree, so maybe I'm high. Well, I was in college, but yo, you have to pay for your services. You are not doing client work for free. If you are, yeah, maybe you don't use Final Cut. Maybe you stick to DaVinci free and you just, this the limitations of what you got. But there's no way you're out here making content for the interweb. And if you are doing brand deals and making money, and I'll get to the funny part in a second. This part really cracks me up. You have to get paid for what you do, whether that's through Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, or AdRev, or affiliate commissions, whatever. You get some money for what you do. So this is called paying the cost to be the boss. Now, here's the funny thing. I looked at so many, and I don't want to call them out specifically because they're going to get mad at me, and I don't really care about that part, but I just try not to be a eggplant emoji on the internet. 80% of the people bitching about the subscription model, like me, if you go to their page on YouTube, directly underneath their page, when you go to the master page, there is a button, okay? And that part cracks me up the most. I'm going to actually take it to my page. I forgot how to look at my page if I wasn't me. I have to go to an incognito mode. But underneath the page, they legit have a quote unquote join button. So how you mad about subscription services and you yourself on your page, directly under the video you're complaining about Apple trying to make money, you have a join button, which in all intents and purposes is a subscription. I have a join button. Pop it. Hit it, please. Come and join. But it's like legit one of the funniest things to me. I hate subscription software. Subscription software is jacked up, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, if you want more insider content, hit the join button. You make about as much sense as screen doors on the submarine. So anyway, let's go back into this. I was trying to find my button. I can't find it. Anyway, so here are the apps that we're talking about: Final Cut, Logic Pro, Pixelmator, Keynote, Pages, Numbers, Freeform, Motion Compressor, and do not change pages on me, Apple. I'm talking, and MainStage. And this is one of those situations where some people are going to say, well, I only use Final Cut. Cool. Pay $2.99, get Final Cut, knock yourself out, don't touch anything. But even if I only use Final Cut, me personally, I still would go ahead and rock the $12.99, right? Because it's $12.99 a month or $129 a year, which actually saves you, I believe, like 30%. Because you're going to get some additional updates. You're going to get access to some, what is the word I'm looking for? You're going to get access to some additional content, which will be like, templates and maybe effects or, maybe certain looks, things like that. You are going to be able to use some of the AI transcription stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of neat. So let's break down the pricing right now. So we go into the new subscribers. You're looking at 1 month for free, $12.99 a month, $129 a year. If you happen to be a student or an educator, it's $2.99 a month or $29 a year. That's after your free trial. And then if you happen to buy a new Apple device, you can get 3 months for free. They didn't say which devices, but Apple's normally been pretty giving with this. Now, one other thing I should break down, I don't know if it's down here a little bit further. If you get that subscription that has the family plan in it, which is the first one, where'd it go? Yeah, here we go. You can add up to 5 more people beside yourself. So that's you and 5 other people for $12.99. That is way cheaper than Premiere. That is cheaper than even the DaVinci model, because what most people may not know, even DaVinci, which is free, has now got a $39 a month version of DaVinci for those people, which makes a lot of sense. Maybe you run a business where you're doing some marketing for clients or whatever, and you only need it 2 months out of the year. Cool. You pay your $80 and you handle your business and you turn it back off. That's the other thing that's dope about subscription service. If you don't create content every single day, and you only, crank out during seasons, say you got a podcast and you take 2 months sabbaticals and you start again, just turn it off and come back. It's probably cheaper to do the whole year and just eat those 2 months. But, some people are weird. This would allow you to do that. Now, one of the other things that comes up all the time, and I don't think this was Gretchen's excuse, but I know people like Gretchen who will say, well, the reason why I use iMovie is I just can't see paying $2.99 for Final Cut. Yeah, I get that. $2.99 might be a big number, but it's not a big number, $13. So this makes it even more accessible to people who can't just plop $13 at one time. And the funny thing about that, a lot of times when I hear that conversation, it's coming from a student. So for a student, it costs less than a stale croissant from 7-Eleven. A stale croissant from 7-Eleven was $4.29. This is $2.99 as a student or educator. You know what I mean? And yes, I am already paying $49 a year for Final Cut Pro on the iPad. So for me, it's not even going up that much. I'm slinging in the extra $80 to get it to work on all my other computers because I already paid $49 a year for it on my iPad. So I'm wondering, folks, how say you? What are you guys thinking about this? Like, what has been your input? Paul, I'm going to swing you in here. Let's go to here and let's find Paul. I think Paul is here. Uh-oh, I lost Paul. You can't. Why would you lose him? That's me.
Wouldn't be the first time.
There it is. There's Paul. Boom. This is not mapped out in any way, shape, or form. Well, I don't know why it's not mapped out in any shape or form. This looks really weird, but hey, we'll make it work. All right. So, what do you say, Paul?
I mean, I have mixed feelings on subscription things too, but I think this is a great idea. If it's going to get Apple to invest in the products and start increasing them and adding things to it that people have been asking for, I think it's a great idea. It's like, we need to share the cost of all of this stuff.
What? I'm curious because I just need to know what are your mixed feelings about subscription software?
Some companies, I think, I mean, they do a subscription thing to get you in or to get the product, but they don't ever update it. It's just like, you're paying every month for a product that only changes maybe once a year,
I
if
agree
you're
with that.
lucky.
I agree with that. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I agree with that wholeheartedly, but here's why I still think subscription is better. Because if you have a company that you pay a subscription for and they don't update their software, your subscription is still probably cheaper than what a commensurate version of that software would have been if you paid for it once. And so what happens is, I think Rich and I talked about this before. When we go to test out these AI tools, right? These AI tools, or just any kind of services, right? It doesn't have to be even AI. They'll start out with, oh, well, it's $19 a month, but we'll charge you $80 if you pay for the whole year. And
Yeah.
so you pay for the whole year and nothing really happens. But
And
see,
you cancel it at the end of the year.
yeah. So if you had paid the 19 and you sat around like 2 months and you're like, yo, this is not really doing it or it's not whatever, then you're only $40 out. You know what I mean? Because then you can get rid of it. And then sometimes you realize I do like this, but I don't see myself using it enough. I will use it in batches, right? So if you're using it in batches, even still, if you turned it on, turned it off, turned it on, turned it off, you're still going to come out to maybe $80 for the year. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, what happens is these premium deals they only last in the beginning when they first launch, and you got people who have paid lifetime deals for stuff, and then the company is gone. You know what I mean? They don't even exist anymore. So
Yep.
again, one of the advantages of the subscription model is they know what their budget is. And the reason why these lifetime deal companies disappear is because they don't know what their budget is. You know what I mean? So they're guessing on their development. June said you're only getting Final Cut, Logic Pro, Pixelmator. Nope, that's the difference. See, this also got people confused. So thank you, little brother, for asking that question. The quote unquote freemium apps that are there, right? Your Apple iWorks is what we used to call it back in the day, right? So these are still free and they come on your computer and you can download them for free. However, if you happen to be in Creator Studio, similar to Creative Cloud, you get access to high quality media assets. You get a content hub similar to things that are like, illustrations, graphics, backgrounds, a whole bunch more, right? You also get some AI stuff built into this now. So you can go to Keynote and be like, here are these, let's call it 6 pictures. And I'm going to make a presentation talking about like setting your dreams to the sky. So using these pictures and their imagery plus what I'm trying to do, help me generate some slides based off of that, and brap, it's going to do that. Whereas the free version, you still got to do everything manually. So that's some of the stuff that they're adding to it. So they're turning it into kind of a freemium model. You also can get some AI image manipulation that's sort of built in. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of themes and templates and things like that. So they're really going almost like Creative Suite with what we get in Adobe Express, but it's going to be in Keynote instead of Adobe Express, which is good for people like Alec who love to be in Keynote. Alec and Bradley, they're they're going to be good to go. The other thing, which is pretty sick, is that you're getting inside numbers, you're going to get this magic fill type of situation. So you can put the client info here, and then you can put this box over here, and that's say first name, last name, and zip code, and it's going to be able to generate the other boxes for you. And honestly, as something I have to do every week, I could use that now, because what I have been using is Gemini to help me sort of refigure some spreadsheets right now, which it's kind of a pain in the butt, but having it built into numbers would make it better anyway, because I kind of hate Google Sheets. I don't like spreadsheets anyway. Oh no, you know me, I'm not doing keynote presentations. Even if I told the AI to do it, the AI would put too many words in the slides. My slides have one word. So it's kind of crazy. Gretchen, what are your thoughts on this?
Having come from a family that had tons of subscriptions, everything from the New Yorker to Look magazine to, Time, Newsweek, every kind of the Wall Street Journal, even. I mean, my mom and dad had all that. So I don't, I think what people, like you just mentioned, there's other things available. Yes, I've been in on Lightroom subscription since they started, but before that, I still probably have my CDs or my DVDs from my original Lightroom. And the update only came every once in a while, and oh my God, and yes, I use that all the time, and oftentimes we don't look at or even access the multiple additional parts of the subscription that are there that you don't really see, like you mentioned. There's a lot of things within my Lightroom subscription that I don't necessarily use, but when I want to, I know they're there, and when I can go and get those. And with Adobe, there's a bunch of other things. There's the community, there's Behance, there's all kinds of other things. There's access to ideas, like you said, the AI stuff. But the idea of having that originally, if you would have asked me before I joined up with you guys and I got another kind of crazy streaming software and went for the year-long, it's a deal, and got for the lifetime subscription, of which I never even used the software. It was so bad, and they had no customer support. It was like, what, and where is it? I have no idea. And I jumped over to Ecamm. That was a complete waste, but it was that shift in mindset that I could do it for just a month to try and to see if I could do it. The trick is, if I don't like something and I try it, do I remember to cancel the damn subscription? That's the irritating thing. I need more than just an alarm. I need like a shock treatment. I need one of those things.
Yeah, so this is true. First of all, take your mic and point it at your face. You're talking into the bottom side.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Sound totally. No, it just did. I see. It's doing this.
Oh yeah.
Your mic needs some Cialis.
It's had some issues lately. A little, yeah.
But I forgot about this, and of all the people that talk about subscriptions, I haven't heard anybody else bring this up, and I am so glad you brought it up, because, fam, I had, Men's Health, Maxim, GQ, FMH, Popular Science, Popular Mechanics. Of course, the newspaper. We used to have to subscribe to the newspaper.
Macworld. Remember when Macworld came?
Macworld.
And it had a DVD in the
back
that you could access. Oh.
Yes, Macworld, MacLife, all of them joints. And I had photography magazine. I used to get Popular Videography magazine. I even used to get the Canon magazine back then. And so not even think about that, because it's been so far removed. I probably used to get like 20, 30 magazines. And then, of course, the newspaper. We couldn't wait for those magazines to come in.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, June and I used to go to the Borders or whatever, and we would get, all the stereo magazines. So even if you didn't subscribe to it, you went to the store because you had Borders and Barney Rubbles, And we would buy the British magazines because the British magazines always had the CD in the back with all the clip art. You know what I mean?
And you saved them all.
Yeah,
And you
I
saved
might
them
got
and
some in this
collected
drawer.
them. I mean, when my parents moved, that was one of the things that we all got to go throw away. Mom would say, "Oh, somebody will want this," and we would dump it on the dumpster. Or it was a way that different schools raised money, was the paper collection type thing, and going
Yeah.
and picking up the magazines. But I
Well, we
mean, yes,
sold
it was a
magazines for
different
school
era.
fun, for school fundraising.
Oh yeah,
You had the thing that was
yeah.
like the one that I just remembered, and I think Rich and I talked about this. I know Andy Mooney and I were talking about this. I remember getting the DVD or the CDs, and then Columbia said, "Oh, for 10 cents, you can get 12 CDs." I was like, "Bet." I did all of that, and then they, "Oh, you got to buy like 20 more." And it's like, "Oh, I ain't buying 20 more." And then you owe Columbia. The next thing you know, you get the bill collector thing in there. Like, yo, it was kind of funny, bro. It's kind of funny. Yeah, the disc in the back, dude. The disc in the back was everything. But even from the standpoint of, I kind of remember on paydays, we would go to Towers and walk up and down the aisle for hours and come out with a stack. Like, I don't think gone to Towers and bought any less than 4 or 5 CDs. You know, and them joints was $14 to $21 a piece. You know, and then we sold what they call SACDs. So they have like gold plating or whatever. Them CDs was on average 25 to 30 bones a piece. So yeah, it's kind of funny. And even when we paid in like Blockbuster, every Friday, Saturday, 8 movies, you ain't watched but like 4 because you smashing during the other 4. And then late fees. Unless you knew somebody at the joint, you was paying late fees. I mean, I guess because these kids didn't grow up with any of that stuff, they don't know. This was way more expensive, dog. It was way, way more expensive back in the day. Even with the prices seemingly cheaper, it was way more expensive back in the day. Right now, we are in the best of times. We are in the worst of times.
But it was also part of the culture. It was part of how we got information. And I think if we look at these subscriptions now that are coming out, as if you look at what they offer and then go look behind what is additional, that's what I've started to do with my Adobe. When I go in and I look at the community, what other people are sharing, what are they doing, and it's a whole different a different mode of getting information than what I'm getting on YouTube or what I'm getting here, because there's another community. There's other layers of community out there that don't show up where we are used to walking.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when you walk through a different neighborhood, you really find some amazing things.
Yes.
And that's what this is kind of all about, is taking yourself on a different neighborhood. That doesn't mean I'm going to dive headfirst into video editing. Maybe, but I may stick my toe in a little bit further than I have. You know, I'm still
Well,
the
now
kiddie
it's going to
pool.
be easier though. Okay, so here's a situation where it will be easier, and I can actually show you this using like DaVinci Resolve. Let me do a cheap full screen. Okay, so if I were to go into my edit page, and then let's say I want to create a new timeline, right? So let me just go here and say create a new timeline, bingo. And then I want to change the project settings and turn it to vertical, bingo. So I go to create. All right, so I can take the footage and drop it on the timeline. Now this is in DaVinci. This is something that Final Cut is probably going to get. That's actually should be dropped on that timeline. This is a plugin for DaVinci, but this is kind of sort of coming to the new Final Cut, and it's loading right now on the bottom. There's bouncing this thing called AutoCut. So AutoCut's going to load for me in a second. And these are the type of things that everybody was mad that Final Cut doesn't have. Now, DaVinci actually has this built-in. This actually works better than the built-in one in DaVinci. So this is where even somebody like you who don't want to know how to do all the crazy level editing, the fact that these type of things are coming into Final Cut are going to save you a whole bunch of time. And you don't have to know how to do it the way that, say, myself and Raphael and Dylan know how to do, right? So if I look at this guy, here are my options. I got just cut the silence, cut a podcast, auto caption, auto zoom, add B-roll, do auto viral, auto cut repeated statements. So, you're doing the line 3 times to figure out which one you like the best. Auto profanity filter and auto chapters, right? So I'm going to just hit auto cut silences. And just to show you how fast this really is. Now, this is only a 3-minute reel, but still, I say the entire timeline, validate the sections, and I want this to be semi-fast. And then I'm going to just say cut and delete the spaces. And so it's going to think about it. And it's already halfway done. Well, it's 2/3 done. And then, boom, found 14 silences. Places where I paused in the middle of what I'm talking, added the cut points, and it's done. Okay, so now this reel is good to go. At this point, this reel is good to go. Let me see. I don't know if I have my Ecamm sound on. Let me move the panel to where I can see it, and then I'll go back to this, and I'll play it and see if it works. What I'm about to share with you is so powerful, I was a little bit cautious about sharing it with you. And that's 2 reasons. Number 1, this word has been so overly adulterated by the internet, it kind of almost lost its meaning, but we're not going to let that happen because I'm going to explain to you what it really is and how it can help you. But second of all, even if you don't find it, still take these techniques and do your best. You did not see that cut. It transitioned perfectly. You know what I mean? And if I go to here, Ikigai, although it's a Japanese word, it's been highly popularized by Okinawan culture, and I know a lot about this because the other half of my family is Okinawan. People in Okinawa live to be like 100. All right, so you can go see the reel yourself. But I literally just cut a 3-minute reel in less than 3 minutes. Now, if I go add my B-roll and stuff that I did to it, that's another 10 minutes. But I have a reel published in under 10 minutes. This is what you're going to get having the new stuff. This is what people were complaining about that was missing from Final Cut. And then for DaVinci, yeah, it's in there, but it's going to be now in Final Cut. And right now, there's an app that you use in Final Cut to make that happen called Gling. But there's no apps like that for iMovie because there's no business model, because it's going to sound crazy and not meaning to be mean. People that use iMovie ain't used to spending money on software. So there's nobody making a tool like that to make your job easier. So the idea of looking at it like, well, this is complicated, so I don't want to use it, I'm going to use this. You're actually more complicated because you're using the easier one. You're missing all of the tools like this that will just cut for you on the fly. And there are tools like this that exist for Final Cut. There's tools like this that exist for Premiere. These kind of tools are never going to exist for iMovie because anybody using iMovie would never be at a place where they need to use an automatic cut tool. So, yeah, that's one of the things. But I do like the whole thought process about just, some of you said something very valuable. When you're in one of these things, a lot of times they come on the back of community, which is why when we were talking about 3D printers in the beginning, the first thing I did is say, look at MakerWorld. MakerWorld itself is not just a library of things to print. It's also a community. This is where you go and you talk to people. You do things like this. Luis makes something cool, like this filter for the S3. And then, he can put it on there and give it to people, or he can take his model as he's testing it out for his camera rigs, and other people can try it and be like, yeah, this is cool. The tolerance need to be this or that. And then he adjusts it. Now he has a rig that he's selling, So you're right. The community has a lot to do with it. And I think that part of it goes a long way. And even if you're not a Final Cut user, I still think the stuff that's going to come into Premiere and numbers in Freeform, it's still going to level people up because it's just way quicker. And the one thing that's really dope about Apple stuff is when you create it, it will have a certain look and feel to it because that's just the Apple way. You know what I mean? There's design language that's going to be involved in there. That makes a difference. Okay, Aubrey, let me ask you, what is your situation on, say, subscriber models and things of that nature?
Well, as a former first stand employee myself, as you, I kind of, how do you say, learned a bit quickly. Well, thankfully, I had Final Cut Pro, but had that for a long time, since 10 years. But I definitely see, I love the magazine subscription thing that what
That
Gretchen
was
brought
so
up
good.
because
I
I'm
never thought
like,
of that. That was crazy. I'm gonna use that,
yeah,
Gretchen. Sorry, I'm stealing it.
yeah. So I'm like, dude, it's fire because yeah, that was the way the information, the way we received.
Yeah.
Well, what is it now? So I'm excited to see the changes coming.
Actually, I have a
Yeah.
deeper question for you all because you were a coder.
Yep.
And when you're coding, you ever have somebody ask you to do something difficult with like no budget? Or did you ever get a
Oh
project
yeah.
cut off because there's just not enough budget?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Totally.
So to me,
Yeah.
I think, coming from a coder standpoint, just knowing what you're working with is different, bro. You're definitely not going to remodel your house without a budget.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about Gretchen's syncing microphone. One thing that you can try, G, that is pretty cool is take the yoke off. Let me unplug that before I break it. Take the yoke off. You only probably got to do one side, and then don't drop this washer. Stick a piece of paper in there, or take the washer and glue. What's those things from school for the side of the paper? Oh my God, we used to have to use them. I don't even
Those
know what they're called.
reinforcement rings.
Reinforcement. There you go. If you got reinforcements, stick one between these two washers and then line it back up and then screw it back in. And actually, if you put the reinforcer on the outside, it will give probably more friction than the metal. So it'll just make it a little bit deeper. And if it's in your arms, same things. Screw it apart where it screws apart and then stick the reinforcements in there and then put it back.
Okay.
And you'll be
Thank
good to
you.
go.
I had to
One
do
thing
that
I was
last night on another one, so stuck a piece of paper in there.
Yeah, I just
One thing I
messed
was
up.
thinking about.
Sorry, Paul. I know what you said. I messed up something because there's 3 pieces in here, and now I just messed up this yoke, and I'm not gonna be able to get it back in. So I need June to bring his small hands down here and put it together.
I did that with my SM7B. I kind of wanted to flip how the mic was positioned.
Oh my God, flipping the
And
yoke on the SM7B is what would Michael Jackson call it? Dangerous.
yes, I had to find instructions on where the washers all had to go in the right order. One of the things I was thinking about what Gretchen said too about the whole subscription thing that made me kind of a laugh is, I mean, as you said, we used to have to get subscriptions to get the newspaper delivered to the house to get the news and all this stuff. And now some of this stuff is online, but these newspaper companies, they have a budget, they have to pay bills. So they're starting to charge a subscription fee to access their information online. And everybody, is screaming, why do I need to pay for this? And, it's like, because there are people that have to put it together and they get paid.
See, that's what I always think about. None of these people want to go to work for free, right? Now, neither one of them going to go to their job for free. All of them, when they go to work, they expect to get paid handsomely to do their job. And it's kind of crazy, but yeah, that is a problem. And the funny thing June is bringing up, which is 100% true, I have founders who, oddly enough, they get kind of iffy sometimes about subscription fee if they don't know what it's for. But then I'm not dumb enough to get fired and say, hey, don't you have a subscription software? But I just have to explain to them what it's for and it's useful and it makes my job easier, and then they normally let it go. But, they also are raised, by a person who just thinks that maybe, it's not worth it to buy these subscriptions. Oh, I just jacked that all the way up. I should not do this while I'm talking to y'all.
June's picture is throwing me because I'm not used to seeing his face.
Right? The King DeLorean has upon us.
He's become exposed.
Yeah, it's really funny though, because even though we have a subscription ourselves, just it's not. You know what? Here's the funny thing about that conversation about subscriptions. I don't think a lot of it is individually, personally decided. I think a lot of it is the culture of people talking about that subscriptions are bad. And so a lot of people have that thought without any additional thought. And I don't think that, my bosses are not smart. I don't think that they're lemmings or anything. It's just really easy. It's a real easy thing to say. Also, you just look at it and you're like, well, why are you paying this every single month? What does it do? And normally, once we give the justification and I say what it does and whatever, then they're fine about it. So they're not completely anti, but they just want to know because that's their job. That's how you run a company. Like, what am I spending money on? And all they're really worried about is that, and Gretchen mentioned it because we've all done it. We sign up for stuff and we don't really use it and we're paying monthly for it and it's just money leaking and you have no idea where it's going. Ooh, dude, the surgical hands are back.
Well, the other thing too is a lot of these people weren't around when we had to pay subscriptions for magazines and newspapers and all this other stuff. They haven't grown up in that world.
I say that, and also there's an assumption that all of this stuff is. Thank you, Mary. You made me feel much better because this is an MV7 Plus. I think you're right. A lot of these people grew up without having any subscription services. He's such a jerk. This is my brother. He sent me the damn instructions. I did it, jackass. You're right. Everybody thinks this stuff is free. But the funny thing is, you've been there, Paul. If we do a webinar about eCam about YouTube and monetization and whatever, like how many times is the conversation, how do I get a brand deal? How do I get sponsored? And because how many emails a day we get, do you want to sponsor our show? So you want somebody to pay you to create content. But like, if YouTube said, all right, fam, you guys got to pay like $300 a year to post all this content on YouTube. I tell you what, I sent them the check 3 days ago. And if you have 3 billion subs or people actively using the application, is 2.9. We just call it 3. If you got 3 billion people using the app religiously, uploaders, not just watchers, like uploaders, and you charge them 300 bones a year to put this stuff up there because server fees is getting out of control. I'm still doing it. And a whole bunch of people be like, oh my God, they're greedy. Has anybody seen, we're lucky, we're Mac people. We don't have to normally upgrade RAM. But has anybody seen RAM prices recently? Have you had any occasion to go look at what RAM prices cost right now? RAM prices right now, family, is like cocaine. I bullshit you not. It is absolutely crazy. Here, let me pull it up real quick. I seen this and I was like, son, what the hell is going on? So let's go Amazon. Amazon.com, and let's just pull up a 16 gigs of RAM. Let's do, what are we on nowadays? DDR5? Yeah, that's what we're on right now. DDR5. Fam. Just, let's see, the last time I did this was on the 2020 iMac. And where's the browser? This joint is 300 bones now. When I last did this on the iMac, it was like $80-something. Now, if you go to something higher like this, 760 bones, fam. 760. Now, for us old school people, this is still cheap, but RAM prices are crazy. RAM prices are out the window right now. Graphic cards out the window right now. And what does AI use? Graphics cards and RAM. 64 gigs of RAM set you back 800 bones now. Now, regular people RAM prices are Apple RAM price money. So again, the software runs on servers. The servers, yeah, Rich said that's 1980s RAM pricing. And June said that would be $155,888,000 a year if they were to charge to post these joints. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not a day. That's not a bad fight. You know, another 100 and you get like 125 or what was that like about 130, then you just made $250 million. So like at the rate things are going with hard drive prices and server prices and whatever, that fam, it might happen. So don't be freaked out one day if YouTube is like, hey, we got to charge for this. That's why Facebook don't let you store a video no more, because they couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? And Drew said, if you have 12.75 million Final Cut Pro users, right? So let's take that down to, let's say, 50% adoption rate. Let's only give them a crappy adoption rate of 50%. All right, so we're going to go 6, 4, 25, 6 and 2/8. And then we're going to times that by $12.99. Boom. Why'd you do it in yen, you dumbass? My calculator is still on yen. My bad.
You just want to go back.
You ain't never lied. Well, I got my calculator still stuck in yen. He just did it all dumb. All right. Oh, I know what it is. Clear this out. June be done by the time I'm done. That is 83. Actually, you can't do it that way. Damn it. I went to school.
You were high, though.
True story. All right.
You can use my excuse. I had modern math.
That is like $835 million.
Oh.
So not a bad thing. Not a bad clip. But at least with that, you can go hire some new people, like the whole 9 yards. Even cutting bait off of what they lost on trying to get Siri to work right, and just like, all right, Google, we're going to have you come in as the foundational model. We're not going to run Gemini on the iPhone. You're going to run a Gemini foundational model on the iPhone. Apple coders would just take that model and work to finish flushing out Siri. That's also a little bit confusing to people. But yeah, it's time, bro. It's absolutely time. So, I'm going to get the hiccups. I wonder how many people in the chat are going to actually go in and do this, or how many are going to stand pat and see what happens. I mean, you get the first month for free, but like Louise said, you gotta go and get a calendar invite to remind yourself to turn it off like 3 days before it happens. This is super funny because we were in Kyoto and I had turned on some kind of thing, I forgot what it was, for Emma so that she could use it for school when she was finishing up this project. It's only like $5 a month. It wasn't that big a deal. And then she said, remember to turn it off. I go, all right, cool. So I'll put the thing in the calendar. And then so we're in Kyoto. She says, hey, remember to turn it off. I go, yeah, I put it in the calendar. She's, oh, okay, that's smart. We're in the train when the notification comes in. And then right when notification come in, I look at the alert. I was about to go and do it. And then the train goes, Mamanaku, which means coming up, you'll stop. Stand up. All right, cool. So we stand up. We start doing what we're doing. And then I never turned it off. Like 2 days ago, you've been charged $5.29. And I was like, oh, don't tell Emma that I forgot. And then she called me. And then she said, hey, I need to do that again. Can you turn it back on? And I was like, it's on. She's like, what do you mean it's on? I thought you turned it off. Oh, yeah, I turned it back on real quick. I just forgot to turn it off. That's five bones, dog. I'm not that broke. But it's just funny that even after you do the Luis method and put the thing in your calendar to remind you to turn it off, it happens. The other thing that's funny, I don't think Apple will do this, but Adobe has done this. A lot of times when you go to turn it off, they'll hit you with, okay, so Adobe was $52 a month. And then at one point, I was going to turn it off because I knew I was going to be gone for like 3 months. And then they go, well, if you do this, we'll bring the price down to $39. All right, then. So you're good to go. I went to go cancel something during Christmas. And they're like, we'll bring the price down to like, it was like 60% off if you keep it and just pay for the next whole year. So I did it. I kept it. And it was Blinkist. That's what it was. Blinkist is like, read a book really fast.
I had a situation last year. Adobe ran a special, and you could get creative with their creator package for a year at a very discounted rate per month. So I signed up for it, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot for a year. It's not that much. And then it expired, and I hadn't made a note of it. And so suddenly I got this notice that, it was up to $69 a month now. And I went, crap. So I went in to cancel it. And the cancellation said, if you cancel now, you have to pay. Basically, I had to pay for the year. They wouldn't let me cancel.
Oh, because
So
you
I
didn't
was
read the
stuck.
fine print about the deal. Yeah, you got to read those.
That was a when they switched to this model, that was an initial part that they had a lot of problems with, because a lot of people didn't see that and read that you had to do it by a certain time or else you would get. And to this day, it's still one of those things that they're like, but I know you have to pay for the rest of the months. And
Well,
they've had some court challenges on it.
Yeah, and I
If
hate
you-
that. I hate that for the country. I hate that for America. I hate that in general. You did not read the shit. You were trying to bulk Adobe to get a deal. They offered the deal to you. You didn't read what the deal stated, and then you try to be an ass and cry about it. I'm sorry, bro. That's on you, dog. You got to learn how to read.
Initially they did not have it written
She
out,
has a Canon.
and they had to bring it in.
You see that?
And that was
Her
one
Canon
of the
is
things
at
that happened.
ISO 1.
she blew out the candle.
She's using her Canon at ISO 1.
But I mean, it was like, so it was like, crap, that's not what I was expecting to be paying, spending money on every month. They did come back a little bit later and they offered me a lower deal. So, I'm down to like $40 a month. But
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
Gretchen's right. Like they had a bunch of court challenges and stuff, but that stuff irritates me because I'm like, yo, people, you didn't read, dog. That's on you. Like I feel like if
most
I mess something
companies-
up, I will ask for forgiveness. I'll beg and I'll try to get out of it. But I'm never I'm gonna sue the company because I effed up.
No.
I hate that.
But most companies kind of give you a heads up, this is going to auto renew or something like that.
Yep.
Pretty much. But they don't do that. And so I didn't put it in my calendar. That was my fault. But, it was kind of like a little shock to kind of see this thing and then not have a way to get out. So it was like, okay, learned a lesson.
I love it when I get the emails that say, hey, your thing is about to renew. Even if I'm not going to touch it, I just do like getting those emails. Rich said like he's all embedded in Adobe for the print stuff. And yeah, and plus you use Premiere anyway. So I mean, I feel you like if you're I'm an Adobe person, but I don't like editing Premiere. So I've always had the Final Cut. And I'm just like, bro, I got way crazier things I could spend 13 bones on. And so even at the 129, which I probably would do anyway because I'm already spending. Yeah, Ralph, we're here. Even at the 129, like I feel like I went to dinner yesterday. I spent that. So, like last Friday when me, Pat, Dan went out, our dinner bill was way more than that. It's just like, dude, come on. Like, and again, it's not, I know that sounds mean, that sounds elitist. I think people like to tell themselves that they can't afford $129. And I'm like, let me kick it with you for one day and tell you what you really waste money on. Because I know what I waste money on. I ain't dumb. I tell you a lot of the things I waste money on. And you know what, though? I don't see them as a waste. Why? Because I value those things, right? But there are some things that we waste money on that we actually waste. Okay, so here's the fastest way, and every person on the screen right now knows this to be true. One of the fastest ways I can save money is cut the speedometer by 20 miles an hour. Nobody wants to admit that, right? My car is slated for 34 miles a gallon. I get about 18. Why? Because I have it in performance mode 24/7. My 0 to 60 is now. You know what I'm saying? If I'm on the freeway, if the slated sign says 60, I'm doing 80. And if you ever seen Mythbusters, it absolutely reduces your gas. And what is one of the more expensive things right now? Gas. So like if I really needed to save $129, I could take my car and all cars have it basically, set an alarm for over 55. And if I just practiced keeping it there, using cruise control more and beat the speed limit, turn off the high power mode and put it in eco mode, I could probably get that 129 in 2 months, maybe less. I got a 6-cylinder Beamer. Maybe 2 months or less. Even on my 4-cylinder Tacoma, I could get that in I mean, I'm talking about a 4-cylinder Tacoma. That thing slurps gas like skinny people eat. I could run that Tacoma for a month and a half on a single tank of gas. But even if, and this is also known to be true, I think if you go in my trunk, there's nothing in my trunk. If you go in June's trunk, there's nothing in June's trunk. When Pops had his car, Pops had 600-700 pounds worth of gear in the trunk of the car. You know how you waste a lot of money? Driving around with unnecessary heavy crap in your car that you never take out your trunk. Any given day, Pops would have heavy crap in the back of the trunk, nothing, just driving around burning gas. You know what I mean? And if and literally, because I'm a lead foot, and if I cut it back to normal and stop being first off the line, that's where you're gonna use the most of it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. And I know that because when I had my electric car, I was so surprised at how much more money I had at the end of the month because I wasn't buying gas. So many people complain about subscriptions, smoking cigarettes. Them shits ain't cheap. You know what I mean? Or I go through a couple pints of Haagen-Dazs. You know, Safeway ice cream ain't good enough. I'm going to get Haagen-Dazs. Yo, 2 pints of Haagen-Dazs is 1.5 Apple subscriptions. So, all right. Raph decided to bring his ass over here. Now I can restart this video and do it correctly. All right, because I want to do this as, you know, not that I don't value your guys' opinion. Let me do it the easy way. Stop being a dummy.
You could do a 50-50 screen.
Yeah, I'm going to do a 50-50 screen and put on this guy. Hey, why you got to add the drinking part, you little dick? I'm with you on the first part. But actually, if you guys ever seen June, like one drink, he has that thing, you know, where Korean kids turn this color. June gets bright red. Like he's really allergic to it. Like really allergic to it. It's kind of funny. And a couple of times that June drink, bro, super red. But he probably don't drink because he seen me puking on the side of his Lexus. I just had to say it before he said it. All right, let me set this up real fast. Boom. That's cheating. And then, that's not how you do it, Doc. Jesus Christ. Do you know how to work Ecamm? Don't you work here?
With somebody that can help you walk through how to use Ecamm.
Shut up, Paul. Oh my God. There we go. There we go. Oh, stop. Oh, I know why. Because the scene is locked. You're such an idiot. You are such an idiot. There we go. Oh, now we got to switch because this fool want to be looking sideways. Oh, you got to unmute. Paul, did you mute Raph?
No, I'm muting myself.
All right. All right, let's do this. Let me put this up here. How's hockey?
They won 8-0.
What the what?
Yeah,
the
my son's team. No, not me. My son. There's 10-year-olds.
That's
So
cool.
that was fun. Yeah, where'd everyone else go?
No, because we're the pros here, so that's what we're doing.
Oh, right.
And then
Pros.
yeah, in theory, right? In theory.
Final Cut Pro.
Pros.
Anyways.
Exactly. Actually, I
Yeah.
want to do this. Unlock. And then paste. It's easier from the black.
That's why it's all weird.
Louise said, "Hey, Raph, what's all weird?"
My camera's mirrored. It's bugging me.
Oh, because your logo goes on the other side of your head.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to be looking that way. Just give me a second. I think.
Yeah, actually, because your headphones are backwards. That's super funny, Luis. Final Cut Semi Pro. Yeah, I'm gonna say something about the pro side real quick, people. It's super simple. If you charge people money to do what you do, I go by the Olympics standpoint. In the U.S. used to lose a lot of Olympic sports because we didn't use pro athletes, or everybody else used pro athletes. And the Olympics thing is the thing that makes you a pro athlete is if you ever get paid to do what it is that you do.
There you go.
If you got paid to do what you do, Olympics calls that a pro. So if you get paid to do what you do, you're a pro. Simple as that. Now in the
Right.
in the
It's a
filmmaking world,
profession.
people like to get all particular, like, are you published? Are you this? Are you that? Yo, there's people who make 10 times more than you ever make. They ain't published a damn thing. So filmmakers are little a-holes about what's pro and not pro. And it was the same thing with graphic designers and the whole 9 yards. Like, I remember getting in a fight with one of my teachers at university about being an artist. And at that time, I used to always tell her, like, well, I'm a graphic artist. She goes, well, that's not the same. And then so I finally just had to shut her up one day. And I said, you know the difference between an artist and a graphic artist? And she's like, what's that? I like, graphic artists can pay rent. Artists are broke. Because I just made 10 grand to do a package for a fight that was coming up. And then since you're still teaching, you're not even going to make that as a part-time teacher. And then she got pissed. But she had to admit that I was correct. And the thing that she told me not to do ended up in the student gallery in the library anyway. So it was because we had to do a self-portrait and I did mine in Photoshop and she tried to give me a D for it. And I'm like, nah, fam, no. My self-portrait was dope. Anyway, let me do this. Okay, that's my mark. We are going to jump in and talk about Final Cut's new setup, or Apple's new setup, which is Creator Studio. And I wanted to bring my buddy Raphael along because he makes some of the greatest tutorials on the internet about these things. He makes a really cool Final Cut plugin, which I use every single dang day of my life. Even though I switch back and forth between DaVinci and Final Cut, I still do a lot of things in Final Cut because I have the projects already there and I don't feel like moving them. And so when I'm in there, I'm always using your plugin. So thank you for that, Raph. But yes, dude, there's a lot of noise going around about Creator Studio, so I wanted to get your thoughts first.
There's a lot of complaining about Apple going to a subscription model, which just seems like more like toddler tantrums than actual complaining, because nothing is changing for anyone that has Final Cut. So just the fact that they're asking for money for a program that people have been using for 15 years for free. I can't with some of the complaining out there.
I can't either.
Especially for a program that cost $300 15 years ago, and now it's, it works out to like a buck a day or something like that, like something just crazy for a year.
When Final Cut Studio first kind of hit, okay, I've been using Final Cut since the very beginning. I think my first copy of Final Cut was $7.95. If I remember correctly, that was the price, was $7.95. And then Final Cut Studio came out, and I remember having this conversation as my brother and I suckered dad into buying it. It was like $12.99, but I think we ended up getting it for $9.99 because we bought it with the machine or something, right? But it was a box. It was like this, and I
remember the box
with the thick Peachtree books and the whole 9 yards. But even at that price, Pops would make a commercial for somebody, or we'd go out and do some video for the store. Even just for our own store, we would make videos that we would play on the TVs and stuff because they help sell more TVs or whatever. It was worth the $1,000 then, because if that turned around and helped me sell at that time, which was a $20,000 plasma, because we buy these TVs now for what, $300 at Costco? Them joints used to be 20 G's, and we were one of the first stores that sold it. So even then, the whole point of Final Cut Pro is it's designed for the pros. And I was just mentioning to the community, the Olympics terminology pro means you get paid to do what you do. So even if you only making $100 a video, at 129, you got to make 1.3 videos in order to pay for the whole year. And if you only charging $100 a videos, you got a different problem. But I mean, like, who really can't afford 129 to do what this program is going to do? And it's not just Final Cut, right? We're bringing in Logic. So why don't you use Logic? Yeah, you know what? I don't drive in the HOV lane either, but I still got to pay taxes for that.
Let me put it this way. I have the Adobe subscription,
So
which
do I.
is like $800. Typically, it's $800. It's on sale right now, so if anyone needs it, you can go get it for $42. Anyways, a month. But I have the Creative Cloud. Let me start this again. I have the Creative Cloud subscription, $800 a year, and I only use After Effects and Photoshop.
I only use
won't even
Photoshop and
open.
Illustrator. Well, and Express.
Yeah.
So I use three
Oh, I
things.
use
I don't use
Illustrator.
Premiere. But you know what I do have? See, I went crazier than that. Not only do I have it with that, I leave the stock part in there. And I keep telling myself to turn it off, but I have so many stock credits that even with stock, so I pay $89 a month for Creative Cloud.
Mhm.
And I don't care because that's actually connected to the real estate side of business.
Yeah.
And we use that because of Acrobat, mostly on the real estate side of business, and
Yep.
for doing flyers and stuff to help sling these homes. And so, although you
It's
only make a sale every couple of months, the commission on a home in Hawaii covers that because the houses here start at $1 million.
so it is already worth it for me to spend the $800 a year on Creative Cloud, even though I use maybe a tenth of what is available for it.
Same here.
It really works out to an hour's worth of my work or less to just pay for it a month. So if I use it for an hour, it's already paid for itself. Like
That's
that's
what
the
I'm
way I
saying.
think about it. And like if people are complaining about $129, my subscriptions for my professional work out to over $3,000 a month.
Yep.
Or sorry, a year. Let me not a month. So I spend about $3,500 a year on subscriptions. I have Maxim One, which is Cinema 4D and the gamut of all this stuff. I have Adobe Creative Cloud. I have numerous other subscriptions.
Motion
That's
VFX, Design Studio with the other two plugins I just added, the two
yeah,
3D. So Motion VFX plus the 3D add-on because I wanted the upreser, the new upscaler that they got.
yeah.
So that came out to what, $52 a month? So 600 bones.
I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna get me canceled. I recorded a video early this morning, and this is the thesis of the video. That I believe what Apple is doing right now with Creator Studio is the best thing to happen to Final Cut X since the transition from 7. This is by far the best step forward for the Final Cut community. It's going to show anyone that buys it, think of it this way. It's going to show appreciation for the developers of the Pro Apps team that yes, your stuff is valuable. You don't have to keep working for free for us as you have been for the last 15 years. I am going to show my support and open my wallet. I don't even need it. I'm going to buy into it because I want them to know like your work is valuable, and I want to show Apple that it is worth developing. I want more developers to come in and make it even better. I want them to leapfrog ahead of the other guys. Like the complaining about $100, $120, $129. Geez, like stop it. Like it's just I hear crying. Okay. Caveat that if you only use Final Cut Pro to edit your home videos, this doesn't affect you. You don't have to complain. You don't nothing's changing. You're not going to buy the premium content anyways. So what's the difference? Like Adobe
So true.
and Blackmagic, or sorry, Adobe and Maxon which are two huge companies that I use all the time, they have no choice but to be expensive in their subscription because they only sell software as a service. Where Apple and Blackmagic, they're able to subsidize a lot of their software through the hardware that people buy. Like Apple is one of those unique companies that gives away so much stuff for free. Every year we get brand new OSs for Mac OS and iOS for free.
No updates. Not like Windows. When Windows
Yeah,
update,
like
you got to pay for it.
exactly. So it's like so much stuff is being given away for free. These computers last a long, long time. Yes, they can crash out hard when they do. I experienced it myself. But that was more of a
Did,
backup
did you back
failure
your
than
stuff
an
up,
actual.
Raf?
My stuff was already backed up. I
I
have I
know, I
have
know.
redundant backups.
The comments was so
So
funny. How come you don't back your stuff? I'm like, he did, dude. Did you watch the video?
yeah, I've been in this industry for 23 years. I have everything backed up. I have redundant backups. It was the backups that failed me. So now what? Now what's the comment?
Yeah.
Oh, well, still Apple sucks. It's like, get out of here. I'm gonna keep using Apple. I know how to drive the car. I do not want to know how to fix it. I have no desire to move to PC. I could care less. Sure. Sorry, I couldn't care less. Anyways, so getting back to Final Cut and this creator studio, I think it's a fantastic idea. I hope Apple adds more stuff that is premium based that is a paywall. Yes, I want more people to be like force them to start using the subscription. So then Apple then doubles down and creates even more, even better stuff. Utilizes all the AI stuff that they have built in on machine. I don't want to be sending stuff to the cloud so it can get processed by AI stuff. I'd rather do it on the machine because these things are powerhouses. Um, like it just I think I'm excited. I'm excited for where this is
Yeah.
going. It's like they have to pay and justify their developers to keep developing on this thing instead of having no return and just hearing people complain. It's like finally they'll be able to do the keyframes, all these things because they're going to show revenue coming in. They haven't shown revenue coming in for 15 years.
On Final Cut.
How else are this?
And so you
Yeah.
said something right now that I believe is very valuable because you yourself, and I call you out because you're my homie, but you yourself and a bunch of our friends and other people that we know have said Apple is falling behind. They need to get this transcription stuff correct. They need to get beat matching correct. They need to get some more AI tools to come in that help us edit videos quicker. It's like we use Gling, right? I'm using AutoCut right now, which doesn't even work with Final Cut. I have to use AutoCut in DaVinci and then render the project out and then bring it back in Final Cut to polish, which is really stupid, but this is what I do. And as soon as Apple said, okay, you know what? In order for this to happen, we need to hire some folks. And so they acquired a couple of companies to hire some folks, and people wanted them to hire them folks for free. Now, the same people that say that are not doing work for free. Because, well, why do you need such an elegant tool? And you kind of covered this, which I didn't hear anybody else really say. You say if all you're doing is just cutting stuff for work or cutting stuff for YouTube and not doing anything fancy, you're really using it as a cuts only page or an offline editor, so to speak, and you're sending the content like that, yeah, you definitely don't need this. And you probably could even go back to iMovie or just use the free version of DaVinci or just, get the basic, $2.99 Final Cut or $1.99.
And that's only if they went with Final Cut 12 becoming a whole new, like if they said Creator Studio brand new, you get all this extra stuff. Final Cut 11 that's where it's going to live. It's only going to get
But they're not gonna
security
do
updates.
that.
No, they're not.
They're still going to
So
update it. Yeah.
it was just like the last couple of days I wasn't going to make a video, but it's like the crying. I couldn't
Yes.
believe how people are like, "No, I need my free stuff."
Yeah, and
It's
so
like,
I was going to stay
no,
out of it
you
like
had your
you
free
as
stuff.
well. But so it's almost like going to buy a base model car or get in the car with the features. If you're a base model
Yeah.
person, AM radio and pleather seats, knock yourself out. You can still do that. But if you want that premium, that SE model, that deluxe model that does something, or it's got the 4-wheel, you don't have to get out and lock the wheels anymore. You just hit a button.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay a little bit of extra. And the funny thing is, the minute that Apple gave you, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you what you want. But in order to make this sustainable, we're going to have to charge you $12 a month or $129 a year. Oh, and by the way, it's technically kind of like $2.20 because if you happen to have a family, you could add them to it as well. Even if they only using Pages and Keynote and Freeform for school so they could do better presentations, you going to tell me you got them kids and you're not ready to kick in $12 a month so they can get their homework done prettier? I don't know about that.
Or if you have kids that are going to school, you can probably sneak in under the student plan.
But the
and
student
no
plan
one's
doesn't
gonna,
have the family plan. The student plan is
it doesn't
$299 period, which might be
doesn't matter.
fine. Yeah,
I'm saying if
yeah.
you don't have if you have a kid that doesn't need this stuff anyways, just use their account
use
and
their
boom, you're like
100%.
there you go. I just saved you $12 or 10 bucks,
100%.
whatever.
Yeah,
But like,
and I'm
come
not
on.
condoning this in any way, shape, or form. Apple does not check your credentials. They just let you buy the student version anyway. Hopefully they'll change that because people have been getting away with it. And a whole bunch of people that are making the noise, they bought the entire suite for $199. And one more thing I say was kind of funny because I just looked at my YouTube thing on the back end real here. One of the people who is making a lot of noise about the subscription thing, I subscribe to their YouTube channel for $19 a month. I'm gonna just let that soak, bro. I'm gonna let that soak in. One of the people that's
No,
making noise,
it's
I subscribe to their YouTube channel for $19 a month.
rage baiting just for the like I said, I'm gonna come out and just be like, I think this is the best thing to happen
I
to
believe so
Final
too.
Cut since the transition to
And it gives us a
X.
chance to actually advance a little quicker. Because one thing I know about being an Adobe subscription, I remember I jumped in 2012 when it first went CC, and I made a video on Google Hangouts with 2 other professionals, and we got hate comments like you wouldn't believe. But since that time, the one thing I remember the most is Apple was on, like, at that point, about a 2-year update cycle. And one of the first things I noticed in 2012 is we were getting updates like every 6 to 8 months. And now we get an update like every month. And so that alone, because things are
Yup.
changing, the way camera companies are making cameras and the way that the raw files are ready to go pretty much like a week after the camera comes out, that's going to be key to that workflow situation. And now that they have developers, maybe they can write in the stuff that makes your Insta360 works without an additional plugin. Maybe well, DJI not so much anymore, but maybe they can add things that, that we haven't been able to get just because they don't really have a team like that. Now they have a team. And a lot of people don't realize the Final Cut Pro team is actually relatively small. And they didn't
Yep.
say we're going to charge $100 to the month to the people who are making Netflix and Hulu joints. They still get $12.99 too.
So someone just made an interesting comment, and I think it's going to be very, very important for this first year. If Apple keeps it fresh and keeps updating regularly in this first year and shows that commitment to doing it, because the last time they made an update to Final Cut was what, 6 months ago?
Yep, 6 months ago.
Yeah, so if they do that, then like this is gonna crash so hard. Like Apple needs to over deliver in the first year or two for it to be like, you know what? That first year was worth it. I'm gonna keep this.
Did you ever work at the
And
fruit farm?
at the fruit farm?
That's what we call it.
Sorry?
The Apple people, we call it fruit. You ever work at the fruit farm?
No, I have not.
In our book, our corporate culture book, one of the very first statements, and this comes from SP Jobs himself: under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
So the fact
have
that
a
you said that,
huge thing,
it
yes.
sparked me because I can just remember hearing it. The first day you go in and you sit down, you got your badge, you got your new uniform, you got your little Apple shirt, and Steve comes on the screen and tell us that one of the core concepts of the culture is to under promise and over deliver. So
We'll see if they do that.
I believe they will be able to do that. I think it's going to go
Yeah.
a long, long way to help them bring this app up to date. And I'm really curious about the premium stuff. Now, I have motion VFX, so I'm not going to get rid of it anytime soon. But there are definitely times where I want to put out a video. I don't have a lot of time. I just need to grab a template because it's not like an important video, but it's just a consistency thing. And so the other day, I saw Brandon Washington put out a video about the templates that are inside Premiere Mobile. Now, when I first looked at Premiere Mobile, it was like terrible. But Brandon says, oh, have you checked out the templates? And I go, yeah, I don't really like Premiere Mobile, but I'll go and check it again. So I go into Premiere Mobile, and I saw a template that says add 9 pictures and then press a button. So I opened up my collection of photos from Kyoto. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. I pressed a button. And literally less than 2 minutes, the reel was done. I published that reel. That reel from the Premiere template is sitting on like 2,400 views in like 24 hours. It actually performed better than the ones where I actually sat down and edited the reel. So sometimes, even those of us who
Yep.
know what we're doing, it's better for us to do what everybody else is doing sometimes and take one of those templates and run with it. And so if you have a short form video that you're not going to make because you're busy and you can make it while you're waiting for your burger to get ready, which is legit what happened, and then it just keeps you top of mind. And I got a lot of engagement and a lot of people commented on that video. So it's kind of funny.
I think
We
I think a
overthink
lot of
it as
people.
pros.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people are still stuck in the, oh, it has to be quality, it has to be quality. There's so many times where quantity is going to outshine quality, and it will come from doing something over and over and over and over and over again. A lot of times, like someone made the example. I don't know who it was. I can't remember, but they said it's like if you, it may have been you, if you go and you wanted to learn how to become a pro tennis player, you can buy the best equipment. Your first 10 hits with the racket are going to be terrible. Same thing with golf. You can buy the best golf shoes, golf clubs, whatever. You're going to swing 10 times and it's going to be terrible. It's not until you get to your 1,000th swing where you're like, hey, I know what I'm doing finally. But you could have done that with like whatever equipment you had to begin with. And I think if the idea is more important than the execution of it, if you can get the idea out and if you can get it out quickly, doesn't matter if it's the best idea or sorry, the best quality, getting it out is going to be way more important. I've seen garbage videos that have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views, but the idea was solid.
The idea was
It's
solid,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Though I will make one caveat to that, make sure you have a good mic. But again, Final Cut Pro is one of those things where it's like it has made me bank over the last 15 years. I if I had to if I lost all my Adobe account, I got locked out of it, I would buy it again, no problem. Done. I'm like it's just worth it. Um but yeah, like comparatively, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars using Cinema 4D and the Adobe suite. So them coming saying, "Hey, they're like, please help us a little bit, show appreciation to the Apple developers." It's like I can't. How can I complain about the complainers
Yeah.
without seeming like I'm just doing the same thing?
Yeah, so
So
that's been my whole argument. Like, I don't want to like pee on them because I can understand their feelings, but I almost feel like I owe Apple, and I work there, so different. But I feel like I owe them for the last 10 years of using Final Cut because it's been
you're
too
just an
cheap.
Apple fanboy. You're just
You know my answer to that
you're a
question?
simp for Apple.
100%. Like, if you see me with the Raiders, we're the last place team, and I'm still a Raiders fan. The joke
That's right.
about somebody being a fanboy is the dumbest thing. You will not catch me riding around in a Mercedes Benz. I am Beamer till I bleed. Mugen, right? Nope. I'm going to do that. Like, I am okay with that, right? I'm a Celtics fan. I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm an Apple fan. It's okay. The word
Yeah.
fan means fanatic. So making fun of somebody for being a fanatic about something that they love is actually pretty stupid. You're the idiot. I'm just saying. But I think, man, listen, I'm glad you came on to help make sense of this. I really do feel like this is going to be a boon for Apple. It's going to
Yep.
bring a lot of things to the table. And I had even, mentioned, I was talking to Gretchen because, she's a diehard iMovie user. And I'm like, yo, this might even make it easier for the people that have been, playing around with iMovie who think that Final Cut is big, because a lot of the AI cutting stuff and the transition stuff and being able to build off of templates will make it even easier than iMovie now. So you won't even have to be a professional. But if you need to get up to speed, I know somebody right now who can help you because he got lots of videos on his channel to show you how to use Final Cut. And I tell you what, I'm going to go dive back into making Final Cut tutorials right after Wednesday the 28th because everybody and their mama is going to be like, okay, now how do I use this thing? So,
And I'm gonna update my course to make sure it covers all the new fun stuff that's gonna come out. And yeah, it's exciting. It's gonna be it finally feels like Apple is like, okay, let's do something about all these whiners and complainers. I was one of them. now it feels like they're doing something. So I'm excited.
Because I swear we've seen so many conversations over the last 2 years watching, Premiere when they first got, the sort of the script sort of feature. I was like, yeah, it'd be so cool if Final Cut could do this. And both of us were using things like Gling or whatever to try to get there. I've tried 3 different versions of Gling to try to get there, and it's just not the same. I'm like, if Apple made this, it'd have that last little bit of polish. And I really do think that this is going to be massive. So if anybody wants to pick up one of your plugins or go and take your Final Cut course, how do they get a hold of you?
Go to enhancededit.com or even rafaelludwig.com, and all my stuff is there. All the links to my shop and the course and all that kind of stuff.
Man, I appreciate
All
you for
that fun
coming
stuff.
through and helping me do this. I was like, I want to do it, but I want to make sure that I don't say something crazy and make everybody mad. Not that I care, but I really just
Nah,
want people to do
I'm
this.
gonna make people mad now.
Yeah.
Anyone that complains about Apple doing something to make the developers worth their salt, yeah, no, get out.
I would say if
You know, I'm
anything,
not talking to you guys.
learn to if they said, well, they're charging too much, they're making too much money. Maybe you should learn to model them. Maybe you should learn how to run business the way they run business. And honestly, I did a lot for running my own business a little bit like that after I left the company. I actually keep some Apple-oriented things in my business as well, and I think
Keep
it
the
goes
good.
a long way. It really goes a long way. So I appreciate them. I appreciate my time that I lived there and I worked there. So for me, I'm stoked. And yes, I will wear my Apple fanboy badge proud as hell. It's kind of the
Yep.
way my buddy Rich in that Cowboys thing. We won't talk about that, Rich.
Me and you both.
All right, fam. Aloha. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna chop that up and I'm gonna push that out today. Fam, this is really good. Thank you for coming through. Let me find the rest of my people. I really did like this. Hey, how come Raph moved now? What the hell?
Yeah,
Why is he in my spot?
Where'd I go?
Get out of my chair, dude. Get
No,
out of my chair.
it's my show now.
Yo,
That worked better.
yeah, it's super good. And listen, see, even Obs, right? And I was telling because Aubrey was a developer, and like I know what it feels like to get your budget cut. And June is right. $12.99 is 2 years of the app. Dude, one night. First of all, for what Final Cut did, it was already too cheap. Even Resolve for $250 for studio or $350 for studio, it's actually too cheap. And I think I say that because a lot of the noise that clogs up the community come from the people who aren't paying for the app, but they make the most noise in the community. So the one thing that was good when you had 3ds Max or Cinema 4D, like the barrier to entry was 3,700 bones. I think June and I were on Cinema 4D back when it was on like 4.0, maybe 3.0. But the barrier to entry was like almost $4,000. So, when we had Waveform on the indie, like Waveform was, I want to call it like $7,000. So you didn't have a lot of whining happening in the forums. You had people that was working, trying to solve something, and I think because Paul used to work at those systems back in the day at Sun or whatever, I remember, dude, the RAM for Andy, you could get a used truck. You know what I mean? So this is not that long ago. We are in a crazy good spot right now. And I don't think people really understand how they have it. And Gretchen, I'm going to give you the trophy for today because your analogy about, oh yeah, you were at SGI. So you worked where we have our machines from. Your analogy about what we used to pay in magazine subscriptions, I hadn't thought about that because my living room, the coffee table was always full of mags. Always full of mags. Maximum on one side and Macworld on the other. Mac Life.
You came home and the newspaper was 3 inches thick, and it took all day to read the Sunday newspaper.
Yes.
That was how much it was. And then there was the magazines, and it was all four.
Dude, I forgot about SI and ESPN the magazine. SI February, we was like, damn.
I think my biggest gripe with hearing people complaining is these are all the people that say they love Final Cut Pro. It's a tool that they love everything about. They just wanted to catch up, and then Apple's like, okay, we're going to try to do something to expedite the development of it, but it's going to cost a little bit of, potentially new users. Mostly new users it's going to affect. Anyone that has it, you're fine. And then they're complaining. It's like, I love this ice cream, but why are they charging me for the ice cream that I already bought? It's like, well, they're not charging you. That's completely up to you. Let them do that. It's 100% free. Would you rather them charge you or ask for new users to pay into it, or to just sunset the software? Because that was where it was heading.
We were thinking that Final Cut Pro is going to get sunsetted. And one of the reasons why, besides Paul, the other Paul telling me to jump in, one of the reasons why I started playing around with DaVinci was I was like, Final Cut might just go by the wayside, so I got to be ready. And
well, it's just a hobby otherwise.
Yep.
It would be a hobby for Apple, like, and their developers. Like, that's if a software does not bring in any revenue in that parent company, it becomes a hobby.
Yep.
And then it's on the chopping block. So this is the last opportunity for Final Cut to stick around. If this does not work and no one buys into it, within 3 years, Final Cut Pro will be gone.
Factual.
Like,
And it's just a matter of, I mean, and I can say this because I used to whine about things and I don't anymore. It's just like, if you don't, whiners don't want to learn how to do something. I mean, I grew up on a farm. Seriously, before I could get my driver's license, I had to know how to change the damn tire and do all kinds of things and get my car started when I was stuck, because I lived way out in the country and there weren't, no. So you're either stuck on the side of the road waiting for somebody to come and change the tire, or you change the damn tire yourself and you figure out how to do it. So yeah, don't.
It's a funny thing, Gretchen.
I was a whiner.
Week,
you know me, Doc. I was a whiner, and I'm not.
So here's the funniest thing. This week, there is a couple that has a really nice sort of elevated Jeep in our building, and they kind of parked in the spot right next to where my dad used to park his car. They had a flat, so the Jeep was all the way like this, and I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be terrible for where they are trying to fix the flat." So I left to go get some lunch, and I drove past, and I saw them. They were out there. They were looking. One had the phone out, one had the jack out. And then I went to Costco. That's not an easy trip. I come back. They still out there with the phone and the jack. These 30-somethings do not know how to change the tire. And I thought, dude, let me go over there and just change the tire for them. I could get it done in a matter of seconds. But when I started, see, June saw that, right? When I walked down that way, right, I was going to help them out. And then when I seen the marital discord that was going down, I just walked into my brother's building and just came to the office. I was like, I'm not getting into that. But I was going to just go change the tire for him. But I figured if I tried to do that, it might emasculate him and his wife might go harder in on him. So I was just like, dude, I'm going to have to leave you out here with your ding in your hand. But they were in the garage on a Jeep, 3.5 hours to change a front tire. I'm like, fam. I could have changed that tire in less than 20 minutes, even in a jacked up position where it was. And it was kind of funny because then I said, Karen, did you see them? And she came back and she saw them and she goes, yeah, they were still out there. And so when I came back upstairs, I cut through, June's side of the building and come back to mine because we could crisscross in the parking lot. They were still out there. And I'm like, yo, these youngins do not know how to change a tire. That is tragedy. That is tragedy. It is absolute tragedy. Anyway, gang, we got to go. I got to go grab a drink real quick and get to class. Thank you guys for coming through. This was really, really good. And I swear, Gretchen, you had the best statement of the day. I might have to make a reel about that. It's kind of funny. It is absolutely kind of funny. And Raph, thanks. I'm just curious, I hope they don't Sherlock any of your tools because I really like your tool. I did want to, since you're here, let me show you something that I don't know if you know. Let me go in here real quick. If you happen to use, let me take all of this crap. Come here. All of this crap and delete it real quick. If you happen to use the wiper on the end down here, it doesn't fit. Because it starts over here. It doesn't know that 16 by 9 exists. You see what I'm saying? So when you click on it, I got to back out. It starts in the ether. You understand?
Vertical video, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
that's
have
what
to take a look
man,
at
you
that.
speak better words than me, but like it starts in the ether, and I don't have a way to kind of move this. Damn, I look way better like this. So I don't know if you have to do an update for vertical video, but I hope they don't. I hope they don't jack up your stuff because I legit use it every day, and I use glitch and swap, and I use pop. I don't even bother effing with animates at all. I just use pop every time because it's so much easier. And if I go in there and try to tweak it, I'll be in there way too long. So I had to teach myself, even when I use pop, like you can make it pop out of the Ecamm logo or something. Just leave it alone. Just drop the pop and keep fucking moving so you can get quick. And so
Yep.
I legit use those all the time. And the 3D window, which I still suck at, I always grab the wrong handle. I've been using this shit for like a year now, and every time I do 3D window, I grab the wrong handle. But that's not your fault. That's my fault. Anyway,
I try to make it as intuitive as possible, and it's still there's too many things, too many handles to
yeah, it's good.
figure out with that
It's
one.
literally good, fam. If you don't want the basic edits and cut, dude. Oh yeah, I use Zoom a lot too. Yeah, Zoom is awesome. Not this program, Zoom and Raphael's setup. Fam, if you use Final Cut, just go get Raphael's Power Tools for Final Cut. It will make your job easier. I say there's 2 plugins you need. You got to buy nothing else. You need Raphael Suite and you need Dylan's Thumbnail Maker. And I can't believe I'm going to say that because I was always like, don't shoot the thumbnail out of the video. That's lazy. Dude, it just works, bro. That joint is sick. That joint is absolutely sick. So those would be my 2 recommendations. Anyway, fam, I will see you guys next week. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for coming through. And as we say, Ariba goat cheese, sound noodle.
You're mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine.